Join us for a review of the all-new Opel Mokka. Let's go! In the front of the new Opel Mokka you can see this new face, which will be the new face of the whole brand, both for Opel and for Vauxhall. It is called visor because, like a visor, it basically forms this shield that goes from left to right or from right to left. Very interesting, and it looks really modern in this color combination. A little bit like a stormtrooper, doesn't it? The length is at 4 meters 15, 13 foot 6 or 163 inches, means 12.5 centimeters or 5 inches shorter than the predecessor. And that hardly happens on the car market, that the new generation gets actually shorter. Well, there could also be a reason that this car can also replace the Opel Adam somewhat, which is not available anymore. And so far, Adam customers might also be interested in this one because it has a rather bold design, but still a very short exterior length. And that's what I meant initially. This is a car that is relatively affordable and pretty short, but still, it gives you something special already from design. And indeed, you can see here in the rear that the tail lamps, once again, just like the front daytime running light, they give, this rather angular touch to the whole design of the vehicle. New also that we find is big lettering here. This was taken from very old Opel models, like the huge cars they used to sell, like in the 70s, for example. So also nice to see some quotations of the past right here. As for the combustion engines, you either get a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine with 100 or 130 horsepower. The latter one also optionally with automatic gearbox. And around 9 seconds is the acceleration figure to 1 kilometers an hour. Or you get a diesel engine, 1.5 liter 4-cylinder diesel engine with 110 horsepower. And the electric version gets 136 horsepower, and indeed, because we have the immediate torque, it is the quickest one with exactly 9 seconds. The strongest petrol one would be 9.1 seconds in the acceleration figure. And, due to the lower center of gravity and so on, probably will even deliver the best driving fun. And this 50 kilowatt hour battery for the electric version, 320 kilometers or 200 miles is the promised range. And here charging either 11 kilowatt AC standard also, or then here 100 kilowatt DC. In the GS line we also have the red accentuations right here. Steering wheel on the left side, you set the cruise control. Adaptive cruise control is an option. Autonomous emergency brake would be standard safety equipment. On the right side you can, for example, also mute or check the, control the volume and so on, pick up the phone. And then there are different seats available. A base seat would be pure fabric. And then, for example, here for the GS line, there is then a mix of fabric with red accentuations, and different fabrics are being used, contrast stitches, and also again animal-free leatherette on the outside. And there's, for example, also a microfiber or Alcantara seat available. So different mixes, and most of them really are completely animal-free. And that was also an intentional decision by Opel to be more sustainable and animal-friendly, and I can only applaud that. So really good choices. And they really feel very good also. You have here enough side support, but it gives you a very very comfortable feeling. You have seen maybe here, there's a high entry sill, that's something that is let's say, could be a little bit more relaxing when getting in and out. So here you see also it will, get some dirt right here, but that's maybe the only thing. But the seat itself here is really good. I mean, this is a very tiny vehicle, but considering it's a tiny vehicle, the seating comfort here is really excellent. Of course, we have to confirm that over a longer period of time, during the test ride later on and so on. But so far, first impression, really good. And this also serves as a difference to the normal small, low cars. Here, you don't have so much more exterior length, but you just have a more upright seating position. With 1m86 or 6'1", you still have enough headroom. So that's also no problem for tall people. So indeed, it could be a small vehicle which also fits for taller persons. This is the new interior here from this perspective, and it's really impressive at first sight. This is all high gloss. Of course, this is prone to scratches and fingerprints and so on, but clean. It looks very nice. This is also somewhat softened up, the top area here, but the visual impression is really, for this segment, quite impressive. It would start with 7-inch screens left and right from base, and then optional this setup, or in the ultimate trim, 12-inch on the left and 10-inch on the right. And this is what Opel calls the pure panel, so this whole panel, and then with the 2 screens. And this will also be the case for future Opel models. However, the key thing here is, although so much is digitalized, a lot of the functions are still here, with knobs like a volume knob here, or hotkeys for accessing the GPS and so on. Infotainment system, as I told you earlier, you have some hotkeys, for example here also for the GPS. The GPS, I mean, it basically does the job, but it is not that responsive, and also when you put in the address, a little bit complicated. So it's either in here for the hotkey for the Apple CarPlay, and the integration looks like this. And actually also, when you play some music, it really sounds very nice. So let's turn it up a little bit. And for a small vehicle, has actually a quite rich sound. So can't complain about that. Here the digital instruments, also very clear to read. This is the integration of the map, but you can also have some different perspectives like this, for example. Minimum would be rather with the speed as the focus, or like this with the RPMs, dials like this, or driving, so you can pick which one you actually prefer. Now to the rear compartment. Now it gets really exciting. First of all, the inside of the doors here. Yes, again, it's hardback, but they really found a nice, finish to it. So why not? We have to see how it looks like in the final vehicle, because this is also one of the early prototype stage vehicles. Then you can see there won't be too much space, because after all, it's 4 meters and 15 the length of the vehicle. Still, I'm going to take a seat, and also these red contour stitches for the rear seats as well, and here then with some black leatherette. So let's see, when I have the seat as I would be driving, it gets close. You see here there's this recess at the back of the seat, and it would fit even better when the front seat would be a little bit higher, and then my knees would directly fit in there. Clearly it's not set out to carry 4 tall adults. It works somewhat again when the seat would be just one step, pumped up. Your headroom wise here, that works. So there's still some space above my head. That works. And the seating position here in general, when it fits with the legs, it's also quite comfortable. Now to the trunk capacity, 350 liters of the capacity here in the boot, both for the electric version and for the combustion engine version. See it right here, there's an additional cover right here. This is a combustion engine version, and then below that there's even more space. Even a replacement tire could fit in there. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Mokka. A very interesting approach. First of all, of course, from design. Hardly ever we see that the original concept vehicle is being taken over to the real production vehicle. And indeed, it looks really unique. There's hardly any other vehicle that has this design here on the market, and definitely not in this segment. So it is a really small vehicle, but you can drive a small vehicle and still have something very, very special as for design. It maybe will be splitting everything in love and hate, but for example, It doesn't have like this typical beauty car with like long hood and sporty and so, but I mean, it's a very tiny SUV, and I think for that it really looks very unique, and I would really, enjoy driving something that is so much different than anything else. So, especially here in this GS line with the red contrast and the white body color, it's probably also one of the most attractive choices. Also interesting that we see a whole new Opel design language. And again, this car will somewhat be a design reset for the whole Opel and also Vauxhall brand. We will see this very design, especially with the front, also with other SUVs in their brand, and also even with the normal typical models. Interior design is also really strong, especially with the bigger screen setup right there. The software of the infotainment system, yeah, there you see that they just took the one from the PSA mother company, and I'm not too happy about that. Most of the time I would just use the Apple CarPlay, but the rest of the software is not super bad, but it's also not good at all. Really good are the seats. They are animal friendly, they are more sustainable. That's also a scheme they want to put through the whole vehicle there. You can get one optional animal skin setup, however that's just optional. All the other trims come as standard with very attractive options, which are all breathable in summertime and warm in winter, and they really have also a very premium touch to it. So seats also one of the highlights with this vehicle, and they're also indeed very comfortable, and that's also a thing. It's a very tiny vehicle, but it's very comfortable on the inside. In the rear, you don't have too much space actually, and also the trunk is rather short, but again, it's also a very short vehicle overall. And again, the special approach to offer the electric version and the combustion engine version at the very same time from startup, so you can just pick. And for example, in Germany, about 1/3 of the private sales are already electric version of the Corsa. So electric vehicle sales are rising, and that's why it might also be a clever solution to start with the electric vehicle, just again from the start of sales here from this all new model. Would you go for the electric version, or would you go still here for the internal combustion engine? To me, it always matters if you have the charging infrastructure. If you do have the charging infrastructure, the electric version is surely the way to go. As for pricing, this is also a very interesting point. Taking German reference prices, the small petrol engine and also with the base trim will start at about 20,000 euros, and that's very attractive pricing indeed. And the electric version about 32,000 euros. If you then get some like subsidies or so and tax benefits, this can be somewhat evened out, this extra price for the electric version. And the maximum price for the electric version plus highest trim would be 40k. So no matter which version you pick, it will be between 20 and 40k euros if you pick the German pricing. And for what you get, I think that's actually a quite good bargain. So what do you think about this new Mokka here? Tell us your feedback, join the comment section, join the discussion. I think there's a lot to discuss, definitely. Join us there, and let's see you all next time.